If you are a home seller or buyer in today's market and you're not sure about the costs that are associated with buying and selling a home in Texas, then stay tuned. We are going to talk about all of the closing costs associated with buying a property and selling a property in Texas and who pays what.
Hey guys, Gus and Karla here. We are your local Dallas realtors. We do help many families just like yours buy, sell, invest, and relocate here into the Dallas Metroplex area. So if you are maybe doing some research and are interested in learning more about here, specifically the North Dallas area, which is the area where we specialize in. So we would love to hear from you, partner up with you, answer any questions that you may have. Our information is going to be right up here. You can text us, you can call us, you can email us if you go in the description of this video, so you can get our email addresses as well. So we would love to answer any questions that you may have about this area in particular or any neighborhoods in this area.
Okay guys, so let's talk about buyer costs first. So a lot of our clients are maybe first-time home buyers, or they are moving from another state and they don't know what all costs are included with purchasing a new home here in Texas. So one of the most common closing costs that you're gonna have is gonna be the inspection report.
Very important in a transaction. Once you find your home that you really love, that you want to put an offer in, let's say your offer gets accepted, or even on a new build, get their own inspection done if they are able to and if they want to.
Yeah, so we always recommend it. And what an inspection report basically is you're gonna have somebody come out and inspect the home to make sure that there are no crazy stuff such as foundation issues, termites, roofing repairs. So that is very important. You want to make sure to get that done prior to closing. It's almost the very second step as soon as you get an offer accepted.
Yeah, so I mean, inspections, they vary between 300 maybe on the low side and up to 600 probably on the higher sides. And they do offer, most of them do offer several services, especially like, for example, termites. That's might not be one of the standard features that they might offer. So that's something that you're probably going to have to add on to the service.
And then we're just going to jump right in to service.
Service. So yeah, there is something called a service.
Survey, not service.
Survey. Yes, I said, did I say something else?
Service. Survey.
Survey. Anyways, interrupted me here. And so that typically the seller should have the survey already on hand. But sometimes there are occasions where if the seller doesn't have it, the buyer typically is going to be the one paying for that survey. So typically, I mean, you're looking at around $500 for a new survey. Hey, that could be more, that could be less, but that's typically what we're seeing.
So don't quote us on these numbers. Don't hold them to us. Again, this is what it is today. If you're watching this video a year from when we're filming it, that might not necessarily be the case.
And that also may depend on the size of the lot, the size of the land. If there's acreages involved, then that might be a different fee. So just keep that in mind. I'll say in the ballpark of a regular, single family home, you'd probably be looking at about $500.
So another cost that you are going to have as a buyer is going to be the HOA transfer. Here in Texas, everybody has an HOA, and there are very few neighborhoods where you don't have HOAs. It keeps the home value up. There are some HOAs that are very expensive. There are some that are not as expensive. It also depends on the amenities. So we're not going to talk about HOAs. That's not what this is, but
But there is a fee that you as a home buyer will pay, and this gets rolled into the closing cost that comes directly from the HOA or the community that you're buying a house in. It comes from them, so it's not a lender fee, it's not a title fee, it's not a seller fee. It's a HOA management that it is what it is. You have to pay for it. There's no way around it.
Now, there are negotiations where, you might be able to get some help from the seller and vice versa. So there are some HOAs that do a very high transfer fee. So there are some that are like 1% of the home sales price, which can get very hefty.
Right.
There are some that are as little as $300, $350. And basically what that fee is, it's an administration fee for the HOA company to draw up those papers and give them to the buyer. So they are transferring everything from the existing owner to the new owner.
Right.
They're also going to give you a copy of the bylaws. So if painting your house bright pink is important to you, you might want to take a look at those bylaws to make sure that you can in fact paint your house bright pink.
Right.
After you purchase the home. So that is basically what the HOA fee is. So let's talk about the next one, which is going to be the prorated taxes.
So yes, super important. So let's so the prorated taxes are, you have to pay, you as a buyer, you need to pay taxes for,
we all need to pay taxes.
good old taxes. So from January 1st to whatever date that you're in, that you're signing, that you're closing on your home, you have to pay taxes for that period. And some escrow companies require you to have more cushion and maybe pay up to like 3 months of taxes up front, which get paid at closing. So keep in mind about prorated taxes, and once everything gets finalized and you are about to close on your home, the title company should send you a closing disclosure with everything already disclosed and everything that you're paying. Make sure to check that taxes to make sure how many months of taxes you're paying up front.
Yes. So in other words, if you're purchasing the home in April, the seller will credit you, because at the end of the year, you as a buyer are going to pay an entire year. So the seller will credit you at closing from January to April. And then it is your job as a buyer to make sure that you keep that money and that you're able to pay taxes at the end of the year. So if you're doing a conventional or an FHA, odds are that those taxes are going to be rolled into an escrow account. You don't have to worry about it. But if you are not escrowing, you want to make sure that you don't go and spend that seller's credit for your taxes. Otherwise, you're going to be short at the end of the year. Very important, but that is something that you are going to have to pay for in your closing costs. It's not going to come out of your pocket right away, but you do need to make sure you have it at the closing table.
Yes, don't mess with property taxes. You do have to pay them at the end of the year. If you don't, then it could be possible
It will
lien.
foreclose on your house.
It could be a lien against your property. So you don't want that. Make sure you have that ready to go. So another big fee that you need to consider as a home buyer is homeowner's insurance, or some call it hazardous insurance as well. So if you see on any paperwork hazardous insurance, that's what it is. It's your homeowner's insurance. So what the lender will want to see is a full year upfront of your first year of the homeowner's insurance already paid. So typically the lender will have already a set estimate for homeowner's insurance. That could vary as well depending on the insurance company, what kind of policy you have. So make sure to shop around, because this is something that you could shop around for before even getting to the closing table. That way you're not stuck with whatever company, whatever policy the lender is putting into your home.
So very important, if you don't like that insurance company that they're giving you, you are able to change that. So that's a great thing to know as a buyer. Know that, again, you don't have to bring that up front in the beginning, but you are gonna have to bring that to the closing table.
Yeah, typically, we're seeing right now, like some of the transactions that we're closed on, $2,000 for the whole year, up to like $3,000 for the whole year, just depending on the policy.
And it also depends on your area, your specific area, what all is included in that insurance policy. So do you have a high deductible? Do you have a low deductible? Just like car insurance.
Right. If you're in a flood zone,
if you're in a flood
area, there's other, your policy does go up.
So keep all of that in mind. But that is something that you are responsible for as a buyer at closing. Okay guys, so now that we've talked about what the buyers have to pay at the closing table, we are gonna switch over and talk about what the sellers pay at the closing table. Keep in mind that a lot of these things can be negotiated in the contract.
Right.
So just because it's the norm to have the seller or the buyer pay for certain stuff, you can negotiate that, and you can absolutely both help out and maybe meet in the middle to pay for certain things. So let's talk about realtor commissions. This varies across the board for a lot of different reasons, and there are some for sell by owners that if you're selling your home by owner, then do know that you might still have to pay a buyer's agent commission. So there's still some kind of realtor commissions involved most of the time, unless you're doing a deal on your own, which we don't advise. And if you do that, make sure to contact an attorney so that you know everything is legal and legit. But in our case, we're just going to talk about the standard in general here in Texas. To sell a home here in Texas, the standard commission is 6%. That 6% goes 3% to the buyer's agent and 3% to the selling agent or the listing agent. So that 3% gets divided up with their brokers and whatnot, but we're just going to leave it at a 6% of the sales price. So this isn't a 6% of the listing price. If you get above asking offer, then it's whatever the house actually sells at.
Where it closes at,
Whatever you close at. So keep in mind that that is 6%. You are going to be paying that, not up front, but you are going to be paying for that at the closing table. So this gets sliced up and sent out once everything is signed and done. So that's not any money that comes out of your pocket up front. Another expense that the seller is going to have is going to be recording fees and title fees and transfer fees. So all of that good stuff comes from title, and this is them recording your home sale with the courthouse.
Yes, with the city, and there are attorneys involved that write up paperwork.
But do know that that is an expense that you're going to be responsible for, and that can be paid at closing. So it's not coming out of your pocket up front. Now let's go into one of the costs that is going to come out of your pocket up front, and that is going to be HOA transfer fees. Just like the buyer is able to contribute to that, you as the seller will also need to pay.
Every HOA company is different. Every HOA is different. So you might want to figure out what those fees are that the HOA is gonna charge you at the closing table. So, I mean, we've seen some crazy stuff, like some HOAs require 1% of the sales price.
Some HOA companies will allow you to pay for it at closing, but some of them require the money up front. So you want to make sure that you have that money up front to be able to pay for it if need be.
Just make sure to give them a call if you want to figure out exactly what those costs are, because you're going to have to pay for that at the closing table.
And again, you guys can come into an agreement with the buyer to maybe have everybody pay half and half, or whatever the case is. That can be negotiated. So that is definitely going to be one of the costs associated with sellers. Another cost is going to be your title insurance policy. Depending on the price of the home, depending on the home, but it can be anywhere between, $2,000, $3,000 for your average home. That is paid for typically by the seller, and I say typically by the seller because it's normally what we see in very hot markets. Buyers will sometimes agree to pay for this in order to win the offer. It can also be divvied up between 50-50. These are all things that you can negotiate, but do know that there is no set law on who pays this.
Something that you might want to consider as well as a seller, part of the closing cost, is a residential service contract. And what is a residential service contract? It's pretty much a home warranty that the buyer, this depends, this is going to vary depending on the offer that you are getting. But most of the time, buyers want to see a home warranty on hand. So they are asking, the seller to pay for a home warranty.
So basically, for those of you that are not familiar with home warranties, because at one point I wasn't aware of it, a home warranty basically covers appliances, leaks, plumbing, anything really that's not major with the house. It'll cover the buyer for a year. So they're able to call out this company, have them come in and take care of any leaks or appliances that are included with the house. I do believe you have to pay extra to get the appliances, like a refrigerator, washer, and dryer. But it does include like the dishwasher, the microwave, the stove, electrical. So if you move in and like a month later, your electrical in one of the bedrooms goes out, you're able to call the home warranty company. They don't like us to call it home warranty. So you're able to call the residential service company and have them come out and take a look at it. So again, this is just a good faith from the seller that says, I'm giving you the house in good condition. But if anything were to come up, here is a home warranty. So another expense that the seller is gonna have is prorated taxes.
So yes, you as a seller will have to pay that at the closing table, but just keep in mind that your mortgage servicer will have an account with you for your taxes. So you're gonna be able to get that back maybe within 30 days or after closing. So your mortgage company is going to send you a check to the mail, so you want to make sure that they have your new address so you can get that check, because it's going to be, depending on what month you're selling, it's going to be a pretty big check.
No, I think those are all the costs associated with selling your home. Obviously, a lot of this can be negotiated, so you want to make sure to have the right realtor behind you, because you as a seller or a buyer want to make sure to pay as little as possible on your end and try to save some money if you can. So if you guys have any specific questions, we're happy to answer them for you. Make sure to drop a comment below if you have any questions. Make sure to reach out to us if you are in the market looking to buy or sell and you want to know more about what costs are included in your specific area or your specific neighborhood. We are happy to give you guys all of that information and let you guys know, pretty much what it is that we do if you're looking to sell. And if you're looking to buy, we're able to help you as well.
Hey guys, so make sure if you haven't done so to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell as well. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. My information will probably already still be here, so make sure to reach out to us with any questions. Text, call, email, whatever one you prefer. We would love to hear from you. And so that's it guys, that's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.